I'm David Staley, and I'm director of the Harvey Goldberg Center for Excellence in Teaching in the Department of History. Harvey Goldberg was on faculty in the history department from 1950 to 1963, and he was a beloved teacher of French history, inspirational to a generation of students at Ohio State. The center is named in his honor because many of those students came to us and said, we want to commemorate and celebrate the life of Harvey Goldberg. And so we formed the center in his honor, a center devoted to excellence in teaching. Goldberg was something of a celebrity at Ohio State, and you have to remember this was a very different time, but his lectures would draw standing room only crowds, including many students who weren't even signed up for the class. His lecture on the fall of the Bastille was a campus event. And the stories go that he would walk into the lecture hall and announce, if you're not signed up for this class, please go to the back of the auditorium so that those students who are taking this class for credit can have a seat to be able to take notes. It really was quite a phenomenon. The Goldberg Center is the Center for Digital History in the department, and that encompasses many things. So we work with individual faculty to develop digitally based projects for students to do, so digital narratives, for instance, and we work with teachers directly so that students are getting their hands on digital projects and are doing these in their classes. We also work with our instructors on online education, offering online courses, and we help to advise them on best practices in this area. We also sponsor a number of digital projects, including some work that I'm doing, mapping and visualizing historical texts and seeing patterns in those texts. And we do that work right in the Goldberg Center. A second area that we work in is in the area of public outreach, and that encompasses two sort of main areas. In the first case, we work with K-12 teachers, K-12 history and social studies teachers on professional development. And so we connect the expertise and resources of the history department with our colleagues in high schools and middle schools who are teaching social studies and high school history. But we also engage in outreach through a series that we call the Clio Society. And these are public lectures that our faculty give with the intention of connecting with our friends and colleagues outside the department, alumni and other sorts of networks. And these are general interest lectures that connect the work that our faculty are doing with a broader public audience. The Goldberg Center also engages in publications. We publish a nationally recognized textbook called Retrieving the American Past. It's a customized textbook, a customized reader. A professor from anywhere in the country can search on our website about 120 chapters in American history. They'll choose 8, 9, 10 of those for their class. That gets printed up, and that's what gets sold to students then in bookstores. And it's been for about 15 years now a national bestseller. We publish a Western civilization version of that text as well. About 8 years ago, we began a publication initiative called Origins, Current Events in Historical Perspective. This is a monthly magazine that's freely available on the web. And as the subtitle indicates, we contract with historians to write articles that place some sort of contemporary event in a broader, wider historical context to provide understanding of some contemporary event. So for instance, this month we have an article that's talking about or historically contextualizing the drought in the western United States. We've had articles on sports in Africa around the time of the World Cup in South Africa. We've written articles or published articles on the Sunni-Shia divide in Islam. We've published articles on the Georgian war with Russia in 2008. That article on the Sunni-Shia divide in Islam became required reading when General Petraeus was in Iraq, and it became required reading among his staff. That article on the Georgian war was translated into Georgian and was required reading among parliamentarians and other government officials in Georgia. So that's the sort of impact that Origins has had. Because of our work with Origins and our other public outreach efforts, The Goldberg Center was named an affiliated society of the American Historical Association about 5 years ago. And we are literally one of a handful, like no more than 5 such centers that have been identified as an affiliated society. It's a tremendous honor and one that we're quite happy and quite proud of at the Goldberg Center. One of our more successful outreach projects is called the Opper Project, and that's named in honor of Frederick Burr Opper, who was the first editorial cartoonist and also from Ohio, as it turns out. But this is a project that we did in coordination with the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum. And it is a series of lesson plans in American history, about 40 lesson plans that use the collections of the Billy Ireland, in particular the editorial cartoons, to create a series of lesson plans. So for instance, we have one on American imperialism, and that includes 8 to 10 such cartoons. But we've also generated lesson plans so that any teacher in Ohio or anywhere in the country can take that lesson plan and it's ready to go. It's ready to plug and play into their own classes. They have the materials, they have assignments for students, they have lesson plans, they have how these are connected to state standards. It's been one of our more popular resources. We've done other such projects, other such initiatives where we're making primary documents available to teachers in this sort of ready-made form. We've done a project with the Textile Museum here at Ohio State to create a series of lesson plans around the history of textiles. We've worked with the Polar Archives and have done a series of lesson plans around history and polar research in particular. These are some of the more popular projects that we've sponsored from the Goldberg Center. We are always open to working with all sorts of groups, not just simply on campus, but off campus as well on these sorts of projects. We've had projects with Columbus City Schools. We've done projects with the Ohio Historical Center. We're always looking for partners on these sorts of worthwhile projects. A new tagline that we're experimenting with that I think really gives you a sense of the Goldberg Center is digital public history. And we think this is the sort of tagline that we want to use to describe the many activities of the Goldberg Center.